The night was painted in candlelight and laughter. 25 friends gathered in a cozy suburban home to celebrate Emma Lawson's 25th birthday. The scent of vanilla cake filled the air, mingling with the upbeat rhythm of pop songs playing through a Bluetooth speaker. She wore a pale blue dress that shimmered softly under the warm glow of fairy lights, her laughter carrying through the night like music. Everyone who loved her was there, friends from college, co-workers, her boyfriend Daniel, and even her parents, who had surprised her earlier that evening. The world seemed perfect, wrapped in the simple joy of the moment. Yet, in the corner of every photograph taken that night, there seemed to linger something unspoken. An edge of darkness creeping behind every smile, an uninvited shadow watching the festivities unfold. As midnight approached and the final toast was made, no one could have imagined that within an hour that laughter would fade into screams. Her birthday, meant to mark another year of life, would instead become the night that ended it. The scream pierced through the rain-soaked silence like a blade. It was Emma's best friend, Lily, who found her first. Sprawled on the kitchen floor, blood pooling around her head, the faint scent of perfume now mingling with iron. The balloons still floated above her body, mocking the horror with their cheerful colors. Chaos erupted. Someone dialed 911 with shaking hands. Another ran into the yard, screaming for help. Daniel knelt beside her, whispering her name, his trembling fingers leaving red smudges on her pale dress. When the police arrived minutes later, the house that had echoed with laughter now buzzed with sirens and whispers. Everyone was ordered outside, their faces pale and soaked with tears. Rain poured down, washing away the confetti scattered across the lawn. Inside, the candles still flickered on the half-eaten cake, melting into tiny rivers of wax. The detectives exchanged grim looks. A birthday had turned into a crime scene. Emma Lawson had been the kind of woman who lit up every room she entered. She was a social worker, known for her compassion and her tireless dedication to helping struggling families. Her friends called her the Sunshine Soul. Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, she had built her life around kindness, volunteering at shelters, rescuing stray animals, and sending handwritten notes to friends who were going through hard times. Her birthday party had been her way of celebrating new beginnings. She had just been promoted, recently moved into her dream apartment, and planned to announce her engagement soon. But beneath her perfect smile, she had been hiding quiet worries. A strange number had been calling her for weeks, and she'd mentioned to Lily that she felt someone was watching. No one took it seriously. Now, as the coroner's van arrived, her loved one stood numb under the harsh flashing lights. It was hard to reconcile the vibrant woman they knew with the lifeless body being wheeled away. Detective Marcus Hale surveyed the kitchen, his trained eyes scanning every corner. It was a scene both horrifying and methodical. The knife lay beside Emma's body, not from the kitchen set, but something smaller, sharper, almost personal. There were no signs of forced entry. The back door was unlocked, the windows intact. Whoever did this had been inside, comfortable enough to move freely. The table was still set for cake, 2 champagne glasses half full. A single chair had been knocked over, suggesting a brief struggle. But what caught Hale's attention was the faint trace of lipstick on one glass, a shade Emma didn't wear. He jotted notes while the forensic team photographed the scene. Outside, the guests huddled beneath umbrellas, whispering, accusing, crying. Hale glanced out at them through the rain-spattered window. Somewhere in that crowd, he thought, was the truth, and perhaps the killer. By morning, the story had spread through the local news. "Young woman murdered on her birthday," the headlines read. Social media flooded with photos of Emma's smiling face and the hashtag Justice for Emma. Detective Hale and his partner, Officer Sarah Green, began their questioning. The first suspect was the boyfriend Daniel. He appeared devastated, but Hale knew better than to let emotion sway him. Daniel had left the party briefly around midnight, claiming he went outside to take a call. No one could confirm who he spoke to. Lily, meanwhile, was inconsolable. Her hands shook as she recounted finding Emma's body, her mascara smeared from crying. The other guests spoke in fragments. Someone thought they saw a shadow move past the kitchen door before the scream. Another remembered hearing muffled arguing. The pieces didn't fit neatly, but one thing was certain. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was personal. Rumors spread faster than evidence. Some whispered that Emma's ex-boyfriend, Tyler Briggs, had been obsessed with her since their breakup 2 years earlier. Others hinted that Daniel had grown jealous of Emma's success, feeling overshadowed. When Hale pulled Tyler's record, he found restraining orders from previous girlfriends, all citing stalking and harassment. He was immediately brought in for questioning. Tyler arrived at the station with a smug smirk, denying any involvement. "I wasn't even invited," he said. But his alibi? That he was home alone? Was weak. Meanwhile, forensic reports revealed something troubling. The fingerprints on the champagne glass matched a woman named Victoria Lane, a co-worker of Emma's. Victoria was close to both Emma and Daniel and had attended the party. The lipstick shade matched perfectly. Hale's gut tightened. Jealousy, love triangles, obsession, the oldest motives in the book. The interviews grew tense as Hale probed deeper. Victoria claimed she had only shared a drink with Emma earlier in the evening, but her story shifted under pressure. She admitted feeling distant from Emma lately, saying Daniel spent more time texting her than his own girlfriend. When Daniel was confronted with this, he exploded, accusing Victoria of twisting things. But the more they argued, the more it seemed that something dark had festered beneath their friendship circle, betrayal disguised as closeness. Hale pieced together a chilling theory. Someone had snapped that night, driven by a mix of alcohol, jealousy, and rage. Then a new clue surfaced. A blurred figure captured on a neighbor's security camera, walking away from Emma's house around 12:30 a.m. The figure wore a hooded jacket and moved swiftly through the rain. The footage wasn't clear enough to identify, but it gave the investigation direction. Hale's team enhanced the video, revealing a faint reflection, a silver bracelet on the figure's wrist. When they cross-referenced photos from the party, they found one person wearing that same bracelet, Lily. The discovery hit Hale like a jolt. Lily had been the one to find the body, the one crying hardest, the one who said she'd loved Emma like a sister. But when questioned again, her story cracked. She admitted leaving the party for a few minutes to get fresh air, yet couldn't explain why her fingerprints were found on the kitchen counter where the knife lay. The room grew heavy as silence swallowed her excuses. Hale leaned forward. "Tell me, Lily," he said quietly, "what really happened after midnight?" Forensics continued uncovering pieces of the puzzle. Blood spatter analysis showed Emma had turned to face her attacker, meaning she knew who it was. No defensive wounds suggested shock, a betrayal she didn't see coming. The knife, upon closer examination, was traced back to a specialty set sold in limited stores. One receipt matched a recent purchase made by Lily's credit card. When confronted, she broke down completely. Through tears, she confessed to confronting Emma that night after discovering that Daniel had confessed romantic feelings to Emma days earlier. Emma, horrified, had insisted nothing happened between them. But Lily didn't believe her. Fueled by jealousy and alcohol, she grabbed the knife from her bag, a gift she had bought for Emma earlier that day, and everything spiraled into chaos. Her sobs filled the interrogation room as she whispered, "I didn't mean to kill her. I just wanted her to hurt like I did." The town was shaken. News outlets swarmed the police station. Neighbors who once smiled at Lily now crossed the street when they saw her. Daniel, shattered and guilt-ridden, refused to speak publicly. He attended Emma's funeral in silence, clutching her favorite book. The courtroom, weeks later, was filled to capacity as the trial began. Lily's defense claimed it was a crime of passion, not premeditation. The prosecution argued otherwise, pointing to the purchase of the knife and text messages showing her growing resentment. She planned it, the prosecutor declared, voice echoing through the courtroom. She chose her birthday, a day meant for joy, to destroy it forever. When the jury returned after deliberation, the entire room held its breath. The verdict, guilty of second-degree murder. Lily sobbed as she was led away in handcuffs. Justice, though served, felt hollow. Emma's parents sat in the front row of the courtroom, their faces pale but composed. They had aged decades in weeks, haunted by the image of their daughter's final moments. The media eventually moved on, but the community never forgot. Each year on May 14th, people left flowers outside Emma's old apartment, a small memorial growing with time. Daniel disappeared from public view, later moving to another state. The detective often revisited the case in his mind. It wasn't the blood or the brutality that stayed with him. It was the irony of it all. A birthday meant to celebrate life had turned into the cruelest of deaths. And beneath every party balloon, he knew now there could always be a shadow waiting. Years later, the story became legend in Birmingham, whispered among neighbors, retold in documentaries, analyzed in true crime forums. Some believed Lily's remorse was genuine, that she'd lost control. Others called her manipulative and jealous to the core. What remained undisputed was that Emma's death left a void no sentence could fill. The crime scene photos, though locked away, haunted those who'd seen them. Her unfinished slice of cake, the melted candles, the half-written happy birthday card she never opened, all reminders of a night that began in laughter and ended in horror. Detective Hale retired 2 years after the trial, but admitted in interviews that Emma's case never truly left him. Sometimes, he said, he still dreamed of that flickering candlelight. Emma's story serves as a haunting reminder of how fragile human emotions can be. Love, envy, and heartbreak, all indistinguishable until one consumes the other. Her case became part of college psychology courses, examining how obsession turns lethal when empathy dies. Students studying criminal behavior dissected Lily's mindset, trying to understand how affection could morph into violence so effortlessly. Every analysis came back to the same conclusion. It wasn't hatred that killed Emma, but pain that had lost its way. The tragedy made families rethink the quiet signs of emotional instability, the subtle cries for help we often ignore. Out of one woman's death grew conversations that saved others. Yet even so, those closest to her still wondered, if someone had listened sooner, could Emma have been saved? On what would have been her 30th birthday, her family gathered at her grave beneath a clear blue sky. They brought her favorite vanilla cupcakes and a framed picture of her laughing. No reporters, no cameras, just silence and love. Her mother whispered, "Happy birthday, sweetheart," placing a single candle beside the flowers. For a moment, a breeze swept through the cemetery, flickering the flame as if Emma herself had smiled once more. In the end, her story was not just about death, but about the endurance of memory, how light can still shine through the darkest night. Her life, though cut short, continues to speak, and for those who remember, her birthday is no longer a day of tragedy, but a quiet reminder of the price of unchecked emotion and the power of love to outlast even the cruelest act.